What's going on, guys? I'm Chris DiCola. I'm here at the superb Signal Flow Studios, and today we're going to do a little bit of a breakdown on a song called Scorpio Lover by Apostle Jones. Okay, so if you are hip to the Cleveland music scene, if you get around and you catch live shows, there's a very high chance that you have not only heard of but seen Apostle Jones. Apostle Jones are a group of absolute living legends led by Mikey Silas. And Mikey is somebody who I've had the pleasure of becoming friends with over the past few years of working together. He's the kind of person that when somebody asks me what they should do next for their career here locally and they haven't met him yet, I tell them, you got to meet Mikey Silas, right? That's what I tell people who move to the area, or people who ask me, about different connections that they can make in the Cleveland music scene. He just does so much for so many people. This one is off of a record that they dropped just a couple of months ago called "Second Chances Don't Come Easy." It was a challenging record to make because they're such a live-oriented band. And that was something that I really wanted to capture and stay true to, right? This is one of the few recordings that I've done within the last few years where we did the bulk of it all live, all together. So what we did for this one was right next to their practice space, Apostle Jones' practice space, there's a cathedral, right? A beautiful cathedral. And there's a basement to it, like a lower church hall kind of thing. Big open room. There's a lot of stuff down there. The owner is a sculptor and artist, so there's just interesting kind of stuff down there. We set up drums, we set up guitar and bass, and then we had Mikey, who sings and plays keys on a few songs, do like scratch vocals along to it. So the bass and the drums and the guitar, there were overdubs on some of that stuff, but by and large, all of that was done live. So that made it pretty tough to take an environment that didn't have quite that much control and turn it into a studio production. But I think we landed in a really cool place, a hybrid kind of place where there is some studio trickery going on here, but at its heart, this record is a live performance by Apostle Jones, and it's very much intended to be that way. Let's take a look at some of what we got going on. One of the things I want to break down is what's going on with the drums and percussion. That's a fun kind of thing to isolate, but let me give you some context first and foremost, as always.
Hey, babe, that's how it works. That's all it is.
Love it.
That all of it is.
Very sexy, right? This one is like old school kind of vibes. So let's take a look at some of these elements. I want to break down some of the percussion stuff first. We're gonna isolate this shaker, see what we got going on with that. Very simple. Just loose, back and forth. We got a djembe here. A little bit busier, right? Yeah. Really smacking that thing. And then, of course, we have a little bit of a woodblock. Check out how that feels with the drums. Sounds very vintage to me. I think we got a very cool, honest, and old school feel out of these elements. What I did with this entire record, and maybe we'll do a video about this one day, is I actually ran the pre-masters, the final mixes, through this old TIAC. It was a Tascam 4, I think, like 8-track recorder that I got off a marketplace for like $50. But the thing's from, I think, 1973 or so. And so I just sent a left and right channel of my mixes through it and boosted a little bit of the low shelf, boosted a little bit of the high shelf on 2 channels, and then ran it back into my computer. So we got a little bit of an analog warmth and an analog kind of sizzle to it before we sent it off to mastering. So that was a big part of getting the character right for this record, I think. It was the first time I've done that with that particular unit, and I think it came out pretty cool. So that's what we got going on with the drums here. Mid-range wise, kind of what's carrying this song through, besides the bass, of course, would be our electric guitar. Very reverby. letting the tubes break up a bit, and then the keys. And this is what I want to show you on this one, I think, is these keys in particular. So keeping in line with some of the decisions that we made throughout the making of this record to keep things organic and vintage and old school, we're actually using a Rhodes 73. It's my cousin's. Shout out to Dave Sabora, my cousin. He's keeping it at the studio for a little while right now. And so we had Owen on keys come through and actually play it. And we had a blast in that sesh, man. That was a lot of fun getting to hear the real deal. So we've done a couple things to it on this one. We're using a rotor cabinet plugin that actually comes with Logic. I don't use this thing very often, but it really made sense for this track. Made sense on this one. Here's without it. Very cool. But with it in there, you're getting that Leslie cab, you know, that organy kind of feel, a little more of a vibe. We got some room verb going on here. Here's one that I like. We'll show you a couple tools I like to use in the mixing stage. This is IRL by Waves. It's essentially just kind of like a room verb. It sounds very real in real life. We'll turn that off now. Very close to you. And then with it on, you just get that very slight. You hear that there? That very, very slight sort of you can hear it. Like it's just in a room with this thing. And I recorded this Rhodes. I close mic'd the cab in my booth here. So it was really, really dead. And that little bit of room reverb does kind of help to give it a little bit more realism, right? What are we doing compression-wise on this thing? LA2A, love that. Nothing crazy there. We got the Pultec style EQ going on. That's most of the breakdown here. I'm also widening things out a little bit. We have a lot of other fun elements here. The horns are always a treat to work with. Let's see what they're doing. This one kind of leading out a little bit. There's actually a flanger on this trumpet just for a little bit of movement, kind of like what we did with the keys, you know, just to wash things out and make it a little more mysterious. You can see I've got the mix set to only 25% here, but it helps a little bit with, you know, making it sound kind of funky, just very subtle. And then, of course, the vocals here. We've got Mikey pumped up with some vintage type of effects, right? I mean, this one, the Little Radiator by Sound Toys, that's one that I can get a lot of cool, kind of old school drive out of.
Silly, super cute one night. Hey babe, that's all love is. That all love is.
Using a little slapback delay on his vocal too, and then Bria comes in big on these layers.
That's all it is. That's
Little harmony.
all it is. That's all it is.
Little more harmony.
All that's all.
And then another layer underneath all that too.
That's all it is. That's all it is. That's
Yep. A lot of fun stuff going on this one. The ooh la las. I love the attitude of this song. Like I said, it's sexy, it's groovy, it sounds very old school, it's vintage. And you know, we didn't do too much special effects wise on this one. Like I mentioned in the beginning, this was a record that it was really important to capture the band themselves. I did a live recording with drums, bass, and guitars. I really rarely ever do that. This was a location recording, so it was a very unique situation where we had to work with the environment and work with the takes that we had. But it was just a blast. This was one of those that really felt like we were working on a record, a big production. We really worked hard on it. I think we were working on this for about a year. I think almost a year, said and done, went into the making of Second Chances Don't Come Easy. So I'm excited to look at a few other songs off of this record as well and do some more breakdowns. But yeah, there you have Scorpio Lover by Apostle Jones. Hope you'll check out this record, man. I think it's a really unique one. A lot of cool songs on this one. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you have any feedback about what you've heard here, feel free to leave it in the comments. If you have any questions about anything, leave a comment about that too. Or if you're familiar with my work and you got a song that I've done that you'd like to see a breakdown for, please feel free to let you know, and maybe we'll whip up a little video about that. All right. Again, I'm Chris DiCola for Signal Flow Studios, signing off. Take care.